welcome back to episode 9 of the Studiotypes After Show. I'm your host, Martina White, and today we are here with 3 amazing ladies. We have Tamika, Taylor Rose, and Lindsay, and they're going to give us some feedback, or just some, we're going to recap and go over what happened in this episode this week, okay? Y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right, so first, this week you were getting ready for 2 nationals. That's insane. Can you tell me about that process? Like, what was it like getting ready for that at the same time, 2 of them?
Yeah, so everyone's looking at me. Great.
Or anyone.
Because we all don't have the words. It was bananas being an ANES. Just thinking about it even now, like I'm kind of getting sweaty a little bit. Yeah. It was crazy. The preparation, lots of hours. Mm-hmm. We already are here lots of hours anyway. So it's more hours than we're used to, and also it's in the summertime. In the summertime, kids don't have school. What can you do when you're home? You can come to 777 and rehearse. So I think a lot of people don't realize their summers are our summers too. Okay. So we committed to those 2 nationals just like the kids did. So we were here at the studio. We were here for hours rehearsing. We were making sure they were still performance ready, because a lot of times in the summertime you're not taking as many classes. Not here at the 777 dance, okay? We had class, then rehearsals every single day to prepare. Yeah. And one nationals some people could be going to, and then the second one other people teams. Or vice versa. Okay. Yeah, so there was planning for recasting and what dances are we gonna take and things like that. So a lot of planning, a lot of time, a lot of commitment from the dancers and us too, because we had to give away a good chunk of our summer. So
yeah, I can imagine. Okay.
Yeah, we had a lot going on at the studio. We had summer camp, and then we also had dancers coming in. So like for the beginning of the summer, dancers were off, and then when we came back, we had summer camp happening and kids coming back.
Wow.
So we can prepare for nationals. But like she said, we had 2 different teams. We had California team, and then we had Florida team. And then we also, I think there was like 3 new dances that were added. So there was new choreography for it was like productions almost.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Now you said the California and the Florida team. What's the difference there? Just the competition, or like what? How did they differ?
I think California was 17 Premier and Elite that went, but then not all of them could go because it was like, I don't want to say we moved on impulse to go to Celebrity, but
no, we moved on.
Impulse.
It was definitely impulse.
Yeah, we were like at the competition, and it was like, well, looks like we're going to Celebrity Nationals.
We were invited.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, they wanted us to come, so we were like, okay, we're gonna be there. So all of our parents couldn't work it out, and some of them could, but the parents that could work it out, we had to figure out how to change those dances. We even had to combine companies to make dances still be the same. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Tamika, I guess I'll let you answer this one. There were 60 dances.
60
That's
dances.
insane. Is that like a typical thing for you guys, or just in general, or are y'all just overachievers? Okay.
Yeah. We are definitely overachievers.
Yeah.
And just having more dances in competition makes us stand out even more, makes us win more, and place higher with overalls pretty much. So.
And if you can believe it, in our meetings, there's actually more than 60 dances that we commit to. There's always 1 or 2 we're like, you know what? Yeah, let's save that. So actually we come up with usually more than what we actually do for the season.
Okay. So what is the planning process like for that? How do you, because you got 60 dances, obviously there were probably more that you narrowed down, or what is the planning process like? How do you pick out which ones are going to be the dances? Like, this is the best, we're going to go with this one.
Tamara Whitehead.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're all pretty creative. Yeah. So when we sit down and talk about what choreography we want to get done for the year, the way we kind of want the season to look, it's like, okay, that's cool. And then we all get into the studio for our first dance and to choreograph, and we're like, okay, I can give these kids 3 more dances, or let's, this is what they need to stick and work on. So I think that's also something. It's just about, we're really creative. So it can be in our mind, but one thing I think all choreographers do in 777 is we choreograph for the kids. We don't choreograph for ourselves. So once we choreograph for them that first time, when we see if they're going to be able to do those other visions, it's like, not this year. Let's give them a year to get into their bodies a little bit more.
Yeah. And there's so much support within the staff that if I feel like, hey, I'm not feeling this. Can you think? And I can always call on anybody on staff. Be like, hey, do you have a minute? Can you look at this for me? Okay. I'm not in love with it. And they'll be like, you're crazy. Why do you not love this? Or they'll be like, yeah, girl, you might need to. Or hey, can I get those couple of 8 counts? So
that was like our jazz dance.
It's always it's always a collaborative thing. Yeah. Like when a lot of times when at competition they're like, hey, and who's the choreographer? We very well could say multiple people because truly here it's a collaborative effort. It's not just we're left on our own. We always are asking people for input. We're always giving our critiques. We're always helping each other get better. Not just being like, oh, well, that's your dance. Good luck, girl. Yeah. Good luck at competition. It's never, ever that. We always are here for each other, and we're always giving our creative perspective along with it. Or, I think this part should be like this, and just kind of bouncing off, because sometimes it just takes that little extra bit of brainstorming, or being like, hey, Tamika, what if we changed up the storyline to be this? And it's just like, oh my gosh, I never thought about it like that. So just opening your mind, when you're able to just vibe and brainstorm with other creative people, it makes you even more creative in a way that you may not have thought of before. So it's definitely a process, but it's never a lonely process.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, is there ever a time where, maybe you present an idea and you're like, hey, what do you think about this? And someone's like, oh, that's
me.
I don't think
all
that.
The time.
All the time.
Every time.
But then like the person goes with it.
Such a But no, we definitely do tell each other like, no, like y'all told me. I mean, there's like a dance that I wanted to do next season, and you guys are like, develop it a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah. Develop the storyline, and then we'll come back to it.
Have you ever just go with what you were thinking, and they're like, okay, that worked out. That wasn't what I thought it was going to look like, but that actually turned out for you.
Sometimes,
for sure.
Sometimes we plan a dance in our meetings, and then we come in and see the kids, and we're like, you know what? Actually, we need to change this, and give them something new, and sometimes we go with it.
Okay, for the training part of this, because there is a lot of training you'll have to do to make sure everything is like right. What about like the diet portion, or just proper nutrition to make them at their optimal dance?
So the kids are not supposed to eat fast food as we're preparing for competitions. Okay. So, you say it again?
Or else.
Well, they do. They still eat fast food.
And they did this season, and they literally all went home like posting and crying because I think it was like one little girl brought in fries, and Tamara had to run like 18 laps. Yeah. Or no, it was like every single fry you have to run a lap for. Yeah. It gets really funny.
Yeah, and
for us,
let's be clear, like the diet part of it is not
body shaming.
We think you're right. Yeah. Because if you look at our dancers, we have every shape and size and color, and it's so beautiful. So that part we don't want to change, but we do want them to get in an athlete's mentality. Yeah. Okay. If an athlete is about to go into the Super Bowl, they're not going to have 3 Big Macs, right? They're going to prepare their body. They're going to train. So we're training them to be athletes because that's what dancers are. They're artists, and they're also athletes. So a lot of times that athlete part gets dropped off in the cracks, especially with super creative people. Yeah. So we really want to make sure that they're training like athletes, but they're eating like athletes. And not only is it for their bodies to perform, but if they eat crap, it's always going to come out. So they need to always like have their tools sharpened. Go into battle with your sharpest tools. So if you're eating McDonald's, I mean, I love a Chick-fil-A, but Chick-fil-A,
yes.
And then you're about to put on a costume that's unforgiving, and then you're not feeling confident. It's also a thing for yourself too. So I think, the word diet, I don't really like that word personally. The word diet, it's not a diet.
A healthy lifestyle.
We're teaching them a lifestyle. Yeah. You're in performance mode. Yeah. Right? So when you come here and you have to run, you don't want all those french fries on your stomach, and you're going to learn the hard way. So So we're trying to prepare them and train them to have a healthy lifestyle, especially when they're in performance mode.
Gotcha. And also with them being athletes, do y'all make sure they're getting enough sleep? Like, hey, tell them you don't need to be out tonight or whatever. Make sure
not really.
That's not something.
Yeah, we don't really get
What they
involved.
do outside the studio, we really can't say anything.
Gotcha.
Once they leave and they turn right up there, we're just like,
But we can control what you bring in here.
What you come in here and do is different. Yeah,
exactly. So if they did only get 3 hours of sleep, at least we know that you had a healthy meal before you came. So you're not having lack of sleep and junk food. But I mean, kids are going to be kids. They like to stay up late. They like to hang out with their friends. We're definitely not trying to make them into little factory dancers where all they do is dance and dance and dance, and they don't have friends. And we don't want to create robots. We're creating artists and we're creating dancers. It's not about not having a life. We want them to explore and have fun and all of that. But at the same time, they have to learn responsibility and that they have to be accountable for what goes into their bodies and how they take care of their bodies.
All right, so how long do y'all prepare for nationals, especially when you're doing 2 of them at one time? What is that process like? Or how long is that process?
Well, technically we are kind of prepared throughout the season because we're always preparing for competition, regionals. Okay. So we're preparing from when we start. Actually, we prepare from the summer.
Right. It's
year round.
It's never preparing for the next nationals at the nationals that we're currently in.
We're always preparing for nationals. Yeah.
Okay. Always.
Okay, and then what is, you talk about you're always in prep mode. What is the difference in preparing for this versus something else? Is there any difference with that, or is it just like we're preparing to do our best no matter what? But I guess what are the differences, if there are any?
I think there's differences with the kids. Okay. Because I think when they think like competition nationals, it's like a whole nother level of preparation for them. But for us, whether it be, we're dancing at a halftime show, we're dancing at this, we're dancing at that, we're always wanting to put our best foot forward because it's our names on the line. We're part of 777. People know we work here. People, we have that name on our backs. So it's our responsibility to always be prepared. Whereas some of the kids, I think they think, this is just I'm not getting judged for this, so I don't need to blah 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 blah. So I think it's more of a dancer mentality more than us because we really do always want to produce greatness.
Yeah. And that was one thing I was going to ask you about. Y'all have a lot of trophies. There's trophies everywhere around here. Like, y'all are dripping in trophies.
Ooh!
I probably won a few of those myself. Honestly.
Heard. Her too. Very much later.
Yeah. So how do you guys do typically when you go to nationals? I'm sure it's amazing, but how do you do?
You mean like placing and stuff like that? We did pretty good. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so are there a lot of other local area dance schools that come to the nationals too? And I guess how do they do?
I mean, usually, I'm going to be honest, usually the studios in our area, we don't usually go to the same nationals. Okay. We might see them at regionals, but we don't usually see them at nationals.
Yeah, so we don't know.
I think maybe we travel to... farther? Is it that we travel farther? Oh my God, Taylor. I can't.
Oh my God.
Can't do this.
Let's see. Lindsay.
Yeah, I feel like I need to say something so we can
I don't know what to say. I don't know. I don't know what to say without it sounding like sedity. We went all the way to California.
Yeah, I just think that
it's a different level.
Choice, and I think that's that's a smart choice. Yeah. To go farther than your hometown because otherwise it's just going to be a glorified regionals and you're going to compete under, with the same people. Yeah. You don't necessarily want that. You want nationals as a time to see how you do on a national level. Mm-hmm. So if you're staying in the same place, like if you're going to, I'm not going to name any cities, but if you're going somewhere close, then you're going to be competing against them same. And then what's the point in going to nationals if you're going to compete
against the same people?
That's way too much work to not be competing and at least seeing some different things. And that's the whole thing with nationals. You get to meet new people and see new places. So I think at 777 we make a conscious effort to go farther. So like she said, we went to California. I don't think many studios from the East Coast
go that
far.
Okay. I also think that like I know us as teachers, we get excited to see studios from out of state. Absolutely. So our favorite thing to do is like if we can, if the parents are down, if we're down, if we can travel out of state to compete, we will. Okay. And not saying like Georgia's boring or anything like that. Georgia's great, and we do well here, but it's so good to see that we can go to Tennessee and take all the trophies in Tennessee, or go to Texas and take all the trophies in Texas. It's just good to see other people, and I think that's why our kids aren't afraid to travel and be like, oh, the kids in California. No, they're like, that's cool,
And I think
they're excited too.
Yeah, that's something to be said about us too. Yeah. That we're like, we're not scared.
Yeah.
We're not just limited to Georgia.
We're not scared to go compete against places from a different studio because we know how we've trained and we know how we've prepared. So I think it's really easy, and this is just in life. I think it's really easy to be a big fish in a small pond. But if you go out there and go into the ocean and see all the other awesome little fish, it's like, ooh. So it would be
and
like.
Also know that they respect you too. Like they think you're dope as well.
Okay. Exactly. It just pushes our kids even further.
Yeah,
it does.
That gotta be baby.